Everyone to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll all have one. Okay. The roll, please.
Alderman Belke,
Here.
Alderman Belzak,
Here.
Alderman Kenny,
Here.
Alderman Marquez,
Here.
Alderman MacGyver,
Here.
Alderman Shower.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. The next item is questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. Do any of the aldermen have any comments or at this time? Actually, we'll leave it open to the audience. This is something we added quite a while ago to allow residents who came to our meetings to address the city council on any item, any subject matter, so that they didn't have to sit through the whole meeting. But if there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the council, please come forward. Let's move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the approval of the May 4th, 2015 minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Belke, seconded by Alderman Shower. Any additions or deletions for the minutes? Then the roll, please.
Alderman Belke,
Aye.
Alderman Shower,
Aye.
Alderman Kenny,
Aye.
Alderman Belzak,
Aye.
Alderman Marquez,
Aye.
Alderman MacGyver.
Aye.
The minutes have been approved. Let's move to receiving of communications. Alderman Belke?
Yes, this is a matter that we brought up at the police committee meeting right before this, and it has to do with a resident that's located in Peony, in the Peony area of Marion Hills. And
You mean Peony? A Peony
Peony?
place? Peony.
Peony,
Okay, all right.
Peony. And he's been woken up, his family, he has young children, by some motorcycle, people that own motorcycles in the residential area. And there's more than one household that has one, and the motorcycle is at a high decibel. Don't know if it's a Harley that has removed baffles or not, but we did talk about it at the police committee meeting, and there is a state ordinance against a certain amount of decibel for a vehicle. So the chief is looking into that and will report back to his findings.
I think we have an ordinance for any kind of noise, and the level of that noise, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and it's for certain hours of the day, but the hours of the day is after this is happening. This is happening at 4 and 5 in the morning.
Yes, before
This particular ordinance, there's a state statute that the chief is looking to cite, because our local ordinance, well, covers sounds, typically construction and some other things. It isn't a specific ordinance to what the state statute covers, so we're looking at the statute.
Okay, sounds good. Any other communications? Alderman Kenny?
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I had a discussion with my neighbor this evening, Frank Cross, 1609 Holly Avenue, regarding night court projects that they're going out through. You might remember the last meeting we discussed it with Director Gonback about the Julie flags that were placed and they hadn't done any work. This morning, or this afternoon, I come home for lunch and there's a backhoe in our front lawn between my residence and Mr. Cross's property, digging. And I asked Mr. Cross tonight, they knocked on his door at 8 o'clock this morning to let him know they were going to start work, and then told him that in about 3 or 4 hours they would have to come into the house to light the stoves or the furnace or whatever else. There was no phone call, there was no flags, there was no flyers on the door. This is unacceptable, because we're telling our residents, don't open the door for anybody because of ruse burglaries. Yet we have a utility company knock on the door at 8 o'clock in the morning, unannounced, that they're going to show up to do, some extensive work. And I talked to Paul Nosek about it this afternoon, and you may have some insight on it.
Well, they are supposed to give us permits, and they do forward those to us when they do come out to do work. What we're going to try and do in the future is let our residents know the areas that will be affected. They're also supposed to put door hangers out there, and we have had residents call and tell us that they are doing that. Another option is on the Julie flags that are out there, there's another phone number that residents could call and see what work is being done and who's performing the work.
So did we leave anything at risk, saying 2 weeks ago if the flag's been out there for 2 weeks, go ahead and pull them, and then yet they popped out there today?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
That's still the protocol. If they leave them out there for 2 weeks, they can absolutely pull them out, because Julie's gonna have to come back out anyway to do the relocate.
But I guess I'm saying if they pulled them out 2 weeks ago when we heard it, and then they went out digging today without doing without reflagging, are we causing any kind of risk at all?
No, the contractor would have to call Julie again and get them back out there.
But they didn't, I
But they
guess is
did.
what you're saying.
But they did is where I'm going with this.
They didn't. Are
No.
you okay, well, then we'd have to talk to the contractor about that, but
Okay. Because I didn't see any new Julie flags within the last week or two.
At the time you contact them, why don't you find out if what their plans are this week and next week, so we can get something out in Direct Connect if they're going to be doing other locations in town.
yes, we will do that.
Thank you.
Any other communications? I wanted to share with the viewing audience and everyone here. I had the opportunity to attend a career fair at Eisenhower Junior High School on May 1st, and it was quite rewarding to be quizzed by all of these young folks, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, about what it's like as a career as mayor. And I just happened to get in the mail just last week thank you notes from all of these students, and I should probably bring them in so you could see what they had to say. It was actually, it brought me to tears of the beautiful things they said, and how much they appreciated me coming into. I think I gained more from them actually, probably than they gained from me. But I just wanted to share that with everyone, that it was just a very rewarding experience, and I am very grateful for all the thank you notes I received. If there's no other communications, I'd like to move on to the mayor's report. And the first item under the mayor's report is a motion to approve the appointment of Andrew J. Kelly to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Marquez, seconded by Alderman Schauer. Discussion? Then the roll, please.
Alderman Marquez.
Aye.
Alderman Schauer.
Aye.
Alderman Belke.
Aye.
Alderman Belzak.
Aye.
Alderman Kenny.
Aye.
Alderman MacGyver.
Aye.
The motion has been approved. I think I'm moving too fast for you, huh?
No.
It's okay. Andrew, please come forward so you can be sworn in.
Come up front.
Up front.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and you will faithfully discharge the duties of Planning and Zoning Commission to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay, if you could just sign the card, please.
Drew, here's the actual card for your appointment, so that shows the time. But thank you very much for offering to serve.
Don't scare him away, Mike.
Yeah.
My hair was a different color.
What year was that?
He just told him that that's where he got his start.
Cross
Oh, thank you.
with a K.
Thank you. I was going to have to ask.
And Drew, you have to start off with right away. You have a meeting on Wednesday night. And I think you've already been copied on all of the agenda information so that you are up to speed. But welcome. Thank you for offering to serve. Thank you. And if you don't want to stick around for the meeting, that's okay too. All right, let's move on to item B under the mayor's report, which is the Darien Chamber of Commerce update. We have Clara Bongiovanni with us this evening, who just came off of a great event. The Darien Dash was a big success in spite of the weather.
Good evening. Join us for Quality Pain Management ribbon cutting ceremony this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Quality Pain Management is located at 8190 South Cass Avenue in the Darien Immediate Care Building. The Cottage, Once Upon a Time in a Real World, located at 1224 Plainfield Road, is hosting its 4th annual Enchanted Farmers Market on June 7th. Admission is free and open to the general public. The Darien Chamber of Commerce is hosting a multi-chamber progressive networking luncheon on June 9th, 11:30 a.m. at Ashton Place. Participating chambers include Hinsdale, Lamont, Lisle, and Westmont. Register online at darienchamber.com. State Farm Agency Nick Pitzer, located at 805 Plainfield Road in Darien, will celebrate his grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony on June 24th. And Darien Immediate Care was just confirmed to have their ribbon cutting on June 17th, so I will be preparing that invitation as well. Celestine Salon and Spa is celebrating 10 years in Darien on June 27th. The morning will begin at 10 a.m. with a 10-year anniversary ribbon cutting, followed by a celebration from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They will have food, drinks, live music, a bouncy house, and much more. Yesterday, the Darien Chamber of Commerce celebrated its 15th annual Darien Dash. A heartfelt thank you to all of our sponsors, partners, volunteers, and race participants. A special thank you to Nick Darien and the Darien VFW Post 2838, Eddie Anderson, Claire Wagner, 2015 Citizen of the Year Ron Kiefer, and Chris Sant. A special thank you to Steve Hyatt and Sergeant Jerry Pickley for all their hard work on the new race courts, where we have received many compliments. Race results are posted at darien-.com. Photos for the event can be viewed at the Darien Dash Facebook page. We'd like to thank our presenting sponsor, Vein Center University Medicine Cardiology, our race bag sponsor, Blue Diamond Wealth Management, Walgreens water station sponsors, Walgreens on Cass Avenue and Quality Pain Management. T-shirt sponsors, Home Run Inn, Burr Ridge Veterinarian Clinic, Chuck Southern Comforts Cafe, State Farm Nick Pitzer, Verts Merchants Bank, ComEd, Rotary Club of Darien, the Goddard School, Unicarrier, Darien Youth Club, American Academy of Sleep Study, and MFC Sports Performance. Our on-site marketing was Chuck Southern Comforts Cafe and Countryside Bank. And thank you to all of our race bag sponsors as well. Tonight, I would like to introduce and bring up a very special race participants for the past 14 years, Mr. Jim Cook and his mom. Mrs. Cook, if you both can come up here, please. Jim is a very familiar face with the Dash. He has been running this event for 15 years, and we greatly appreciate all of his support. And if you can come over here, do you remember your time? Do you remember your time?
Yes.
Okay, so Jim's he won first place in his age bracket. We don't need to go there. But you can give your time, and if you want to say anything about the Dash.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was 45 minutes and a few seconds after. Had a slight problem with my bib. The tracking thing on my bib, the chip, if you will, came off because the weather wasn't very nice. So when I crossed the finish line, I wasn't acknowledged as finishing, but they typed my number in, and then we had a bit of a misstep, if you will. But no, it was a great day. It's been a great organization for the past 15 years, and you guys do a great job, and Claire does just a terrific job, and we'll see you next year.
Yes, and I think you have an award coming
And we're
here.
going to have our own little award ceremony right now, and I'm going to give his mom the honor of giving him his first place medal while I take the picture.
She always warns everybody she doesn't take just one. She has to take a few, just in case.
I wasn't as bad as a photographer yesterday, 900 that I had to
Did
go
he really?
through, so I don't know. I might just stick to one. That's it for tonight. Any questions?
But yes, Jim, I was teasing Mrs. Cook back there because every year Jim runs this race, and then he wanders around, and then Mrs. Cook comes from church, and I see her in her high heels walking, looking for him. So I try to help her find him. But did you find each other on Sunday? You did find him this time. Yeah, it was Yeah, good. Congratulations, Jim, for doing it, for running it. Did you like the race route too?
Yeah, it was terrific. We just did the 5K loop twice if you're doing
Yes.
the 10K, and it worked out. I thought it was just great.
Wasn't it great that they took that hill out of the beginning of the race? Oh, that was a killer, going up that hill right at Richmond up, oh my God, or at Bentley up. So that was a great change to the race route. So thank you, Jim. Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
I also wanted to thank all of our partners as well, the Darien Lions Club, the Gift of Carl Foundation, DuPage Star Technology, and all the volunteers. We couldn't have done it without the City of Darien, the police department, everybody that helps make this community event, growing every year. We couldn't do it without you, so thank you very much.
Claire, compliments to you. I was just amazed at the number of volunteers that you had out there. I mean, it was so well coordinated. You had so many people out there on the race route, so there was no excuse for anybody getting lost this year. Even last year it was the same way. And Steve Hyatt, honest to goodness, I don't know what you do without Steve Hyatt. He does a remarkable job. Organizing all of those. And Angelo Ambronio and I drove in the lead car, and he's a character, but that was fun, leading the race. So thank you for that honor.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's move on to the city clerk's report.
Okay, just one. Darien City offices will be closed on Monday, May 25th in observance of the Memorial Day holiday.
Thank you. Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor Weaver. One item tonight, I wanted to let everybody know that Lynn Dubman to my left here will be retiring shortly. She's been in local government a little over 28 years and about 8 years with us. And Lynn is one of those typically behind the scenes, although she fills in as deputy clerk, again, behind the scenes, who makes the city operate so well. And we will certainly miss you, Lynn, but we congratulate you and hope you enjoy retirement.
I think I heard she's going to Disney World.
I'd like to go to Disney World.
Okay, let's go to department head reports. I think Chief Brown has a report.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members and residents at home. I'm going to be very brief tonight. Are there any questions regarding the third period police report? If not, I want to underscore two issues pertinent to our public safety. The first one is today we got a call from a resident, an elderly lady who was the victim of an attempted scam, and she actually had the wherewithal to take the number from the scammers and call our office. And so I called the number, and it was in fact a scam. We believe it's offshore. And both myself and the detective sergeant Googled the number and comes up with an entire list of scams. And for whatever means these folks use, they have a sufficient amount of information to target our residents. And some of the scammer purports to be a member of the AG or Attorney General's office without being specific in naming a particular location where they're calling from. And they demand payment on various arrest warrants, insurance debts, credit card debts, and things like that. So one of the things I like to do is encourage all the residents not to speak with these folks. If this is something that you didn't solicit, or if someone is calling you demanding money, just immediately hang up. If you have caller ID, document the telephone number and call 911 immediately. We'd really like to get some traction on this. What we've learned from Googling this number is the greater likelihood is that they're offshore and they have you send money to a different location or to a banking institution that's offshore. So our residents can look on the city's website and under the police department's website and find a list of the various types of scams. But this is not just a Darien issue. This is a nationwide issue. And once again, the key is vigilance and not accepting the calls from people who are demanding money. The Internal Revenue Service, banks, and those types of institutions will not call you demanding money in that manner. So it's really, really critical. Any questions on that?
Chief, did you say she was a victim? Did she already turn information over to the?
No, she did not. She
Oh,
had the
good.
wherewithal not to give up any information and called us immediately. Actually, she talked to Rose, the new administrative assistant. She brought the number to both myself and the detective coordinator, and we were able to Google the number, and I actually spoke with the offender in this. So he's very arrogant. He knew I couldn't lay hands on him, so he was really arrogant. So.
Do they, out of curiosity, do they only target elderly people?
You know, I'm not sure. No, they have not targeted elderly people exclusively, but the elderly make very good victims for them because they make poor witnesses in many cases, and because our senior citizens have a high respect for authority. If someone calls and sounds official and gives official information, and they're more likely to comply. Our younger folks question everything, and so it's not as big of an issue, and are a lot more resistant to authority. So it makes sense from the criminal perspective, but I'm encouraging all of our seniors and folks who have seniors, your parents, your aunts and uncles, to talk to them about this and alert them so that they won't become victims.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, it seems that most often we hear that seniors are being targeted, and I
Yes.
was wondering what kind of data would they be getting their hands on that would allow them to target elderly?
Well, part of the problem is there are so many websites on the internet that reveal so much. If you do any activity, any business transactions on the internet, there's loads of information about you.
If you do a white pages search, you can just plug in an address, and it'll give you a range. If the person is 65 plus, and if they're just targeting areas and just plugging addresses in, they'll see if someone's elderly on there.
That sounds
Exactly.
like a lot of effort on these scammers' parts to ascertain this information.
Well, you know, and the thing is that criminals use the same calculation that police departments and the government does, ROI, a return on investment. When you think about it, they're offshore or in some innocuous area that they can't have law enforcement hands laid on them right away. One of the scams that we found on the internet related to this particular telephone number, it's a 609-738-0944 number where the scammer is calling from. And one of the victims actually turned over $1,800. So if you calculate that, if a person is able to get 6 $1,800 payments in a day or so, that's all clear money. I mean, so the return on the investment is very high. The risk is extremely low. And from a crime perspective, anytime you have a crime issue where the gain is high and the risk is low, then you're going to have it's going to be fruitful for them.
Okay, I'm just curious that it just doesn't. It seems as though they have information. They're privy to information where they can target certain groups. That thought occurred to me.
A minister once told me that every blessing is also a curse, and that's the way the internet has become, because as much as we can do and shop and not have to leave home, and the bad guys can find out tons of information about us. There was a time when law enforcement was able to be fairly anonymous, but there's a litany of information about local law enforcement all over this nation, and so that same information is available for other folks who aren't involved in law enforcement, unfortunately.
So, are you saying that if people are shopping online all the time,
Sure.
that's almost a bad thing?
Well, I can't say it's a bad thing, but what you have to be aware of is that you become vulnerable from your activities online, whether it's social media, Facebook, Twitter. There's a certain amount of vulnerability, and you should be extremely cautious about the amount and the type of information that you surrender.
Okay, thank you.
That's my question, Chief. It'll come back. Go ahead.
I cut you off. I'm
No,
sorry.
no,
I'm
no. That's
sorry.
all right. Oh, I recall, Chief. You mentioned the resident brought the number, I think, into Rose.
Yes.
And the cases like this, should residents call 911?
Absolutely, call 911. The more we can document and report to other authorities that are outside of Illinois, the more likely that these folks will get caught at some point. It's not an easy task, but they can be caught. Any criminal who commits crimes can be caught. Some are
So
just more difficult.
If a resident calls 911, would an officer visit that resident for the information? How does that work?
They may visit because there's no requirement, no need, I should say, or necessity there's nothing to investigate other than exchange of information. So the officer might just take the information and convert it to a case report or an
Okay.
information report of some type.
Chief, also, going back to our November burglaries, what's the status on retiring some of those burglaries?
We should be able to clear some cases. They're still being worked up at this point, but that's as much information as we have right now. We have not had a burglary. We've had 2 burglaries, I should say, since the 17th of November.
And how many of those burglaries were we able to clear?
We're not sure how many that we'll be able to clear. Some of our cases will be used in aggravation for other cases, and some of them will be circumstantial.
Any other questions for the chief?
I have one other issue. This weekend, we had a rash of burglaries to the motor vehicle. There were 10 burglaries to the motor vehicle in a very narrow area. It's bounded by 73rd Street on the north, Cass on the west, 77th Street on the south, and Richmond on the east. And all of the vehicles but one were left unlocked. And there was no loss in some. We've responded to it. We've taken some steps to interdict it, and we'll be reporting back on that. But the key here is for our residents to lock their cars. Not one of the cars was vandalized to gain entry. All of the doors were either unlocked. Yes, ma'am.
Chief, when you say there was no loss, what does that mean?
That means there was nothing that was taken from the vehicle.
Then how do we know that someone got in there?
They rifled through the contents.
Oh, they can tell that they opened up the glove.
Yep, the glove
Okay.
box and the consoles and what have you.
Out of curiosity, do we have a lot of cameras over that way?
No, we
Video
don't.
Cameras on properties?
No, we don't. No, we don't. We're checking. We have one indicator that one of the residents in another a close by location may have spooked the burglars, but we're not sure on that yet.
Okay. Thank you. Alderman Kenny?
We getting any any more solicitors knocking on door, windows, siding? We had one on my block last week. I called 911 on. They were doing pest control, hitting 3 houses and then taking off again. Do we know anything more about that?
No, we don't have any additional on that yet. They're kind of fleeting, and we don't get a lot, especially since we've stopped the solicitor permits. We haven't had a lot, but we do get it from time to time. Last week, I was out on patrol and spotted 2 guys out passing out flyers and stopped them. You can't be passing out flyers here, that kind of thing.
So we still have not allowed solicitations?
No, ma'am.
Solicitors' permits?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Alderman McIver?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I did have a resident ask about motorized recreational vehicles in the parks. I think the weather's nice, and there was some kid riding like a mini bike in the park in our neighborhood. When I went by, I didn't see him. What's allowed or what isn't allowed, and then what should residents do if they see someone doing that?
If it has a motor, it's not allowed in the park. Obviously, the battery operated, the kiddie cars, those are fine. But if it has a motor, it should not be in the park, and residents should call 911.
No ATVs in the park?
No ATVs in the park.
Had that too. So, okay.
Alderman Marquez?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to mention, my wife came home from the Historical Society meeting the other night, and she wanted to let you know that the group complimented you on your presentation to the Historical Society, and I guess by being there and giving them some good information, you're going to be booked for another couple more appearances from some other groups. But Kathy said that everybody found the information be very useful. And that has a tendency to be a little bit older group, so we're talking to some seniors there who really appreciated the information you did give them. But I told her that seems to be what we hear when the chief goes around. People have a tendency to really appreciate the information he gets. So my compliments to you too.
Thank you, Alderman. I was speaking to my contemporaries, so it's hard not to be boring. Just so the council is aware, shortly after being sworn in, I asked Rose to send out letters to all of the community groups and anybody else who had an organization requesting that the police department, either myself or one of the other officers, come out to give a presentation, to talk, to get reacquainted. Essentially, what we're looking to do is we're moving towards a community policing, or community-oriented policing service delivery model. And so in addition to accountability, we want basically a community policing model. And so the only way to get to that is for all 34 of the members of the Darien Police Department to be intimately involved in outreach to the community. And certainly the chief has to be first and foremost. And so we've got appointments right now into July for various events and speaking engagements. So I look forward to it, and hopefully all of them will go as good as as well as the Darien Historical Society. And I did enjoy it. So.
Alderman McIver?
Chief, does that include, like the Park District, they have a senior group there, or the library?
Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Have we had someone out? I know that you and I, it's got to be a couple of years ago, that we were at one of one of the big seniors groups.
Eagle's Nest was.
Have we been back?
We have not.
You or Lauren been back?
Lauren and Marina have both been out. That's probably been about 6 or 7 months ago now, though. So.
Officer Renner and Liska are our elder services officers, so they have been very instrumental in putting together a database of our seniors.
We just received a very highly complimentary letter for Officer Renner today, as a matter of fact, where she spent what the resident perceived was an inordinate amount of time conversing and passing on information. And so that's the kind of engagement. We don't want our residents to think that we're always in a hurry to get away from them. And so that's the kind of interaction that we're looking for. So it's every interaction is not necessarily adversarial. Sometimes we're just kibitzing with the residents, and that's what it should be. So that's what real community policing involves.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the database of seniors, Chief, is that something where people call in and ask to be put on in that database?
That's one of the options. Normally, they've populated the database when they've gone out and given presentations, okay. And they have the resident complete an information card, and they enter them into the database based on that. And the purpose of the database is so, in the event of an extreme weather or circumstance or other disaster, we're able to provide services above baseline to reach out to our residents who may live alone and may not have access to other services.
Would that include people, not necessarily seniors, but others that are maybe physically challenged?
We have not extended it to the physically infirmed yet in that way, but that's something we could take a look at.
I think that'd be good, because some people are in the same situation, but they just don't have the senior credentials.
Part of the issue is it's difficult enough to get the seniors. We've had the luxury of having like the Eagle's Nest and certain others, the Park Districts group and some other groups that we've been invited to, and we've managed to host some events at Walmart and things like that. And that's the way we've kind of gathered our residents up to this point.
Okay. Anything else for the Chief? Anything further?
No, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Let's move on to the Treasurer's report. Treasurer Corrin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This evening, I'm requesting approval of two warrants. Warrant number 141525 with respect to our last fiscal year in the amount of $510,079.05 from the listed funds.
Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Schauer, second by Alderman Belzak. Any discussion? Then the roll, please.
Alderman Schauer.
Aye.
Alderman Belzak.
Aye.
Alderman Belke.
Aye.
Alderman Kenny.
Aye.
Alderman Marquez.
Aye.
Alderman McIver.
Aye.
The motion has been approved. The next warrant.
Next is warrant number 151602 in the amount of $212,085.05 from the enumerated funds, and payroll for the period ended May 14th, 2015 in the amount of $240,757.88 for a total be approved of $452,842.93.
Motion to approve. Alderman Belzak, second by Alderman Kenny. Discussion. The roll, please.
Alderman Belzak.
Aye.
Alderman Kenny.
Aye.
Alderman Belke.
Aye.
Alderman Marquez.
Aye.
Alderman McIver.
Aye.
Alderman Schauer.
Aye.
The warrant has been approved. The next item is standing committee, standing committee reports. Alderman Marquez.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a reminder, the next Municipal Services Committee meeting is Tuesday, May 26th at 6:30 here in the council chambers.
6:30. All right, Alderman MacIver?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At tonight's Police Committee meeting, we approved the meeting minutes from the April 20th, 2015 Police Committee meeting. So I'll pass those over to be minute. And the next Police Committee meeting will be not in June, but July 20th, 2015 at 6 p.m. in the Police Department Training Room across the parking lot.
Okay, and Alderman Shower?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Our next Admin Finance meeting will be held on Monday, June 1st at 6 p.m. in our upstairs meeting room.
Already June, my goodness. Okay, let's move to questions, comments, agenda-related. We had a very abbreviated work session. I don't know if anyone had any other items. During that work session, we chose to move both consent agenda items to new business, so they will be A and B under new business. I'd like to open it up to the floor if anyone in the audience wants to address any of the items on the agenda this evening. And I kind of figured that's a no, so I will move on to old business. There being no old business, we'll move right, and there is no consent agenda this evening. Let's move right to new business. Item A is a motion to approve a resolution approving participation in the Village of Woodridge and Village of Downers Groves to provide fireworks at Ziegfeld Troy Golf Course on the 4th of July by contributing an amount not to exceed $5,110. Do I have a motion to approve?
Could we discuss that?
Yeah, it's not as consent. It's on.
Right. So
yeah.
Okay. So you're gonna have a motion, then we can talk.
Yes, Alderman Belzak, seconded by Alderman Belke. Discussion.
Well, I have the same position every year when it comes to fireworks. I think that, it doesn't necessarily, while $5,000 maybe in the scheme of the city's budget isn't a big number, I feel it's money that can be put towards something that better serves the residents as a whole. For I don't know how many years now, we've cut out the Amnesty Day program for trash, which I hear about almost, every year. People contact me and say, are we bringing that back? Are we bringing that back? And even though that money, the $5,000 wouldn't cover that service, when you start adding up, this and that and the other, you could get to the point of adding that back into the city's budget. So I think that that's basically been my position. I've been supported by the residents in my area as far as that goes, and so I don't support spending $5,000 on fireworks.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe every garbage day is Amnesty Day because you can put out anything you want. You just have to put a tag on it. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can have a tote that you pay a monthly fee, but if you have larger bulk items, there's
You have
a
to put a
sticker
tag on
requirement.
them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
So
certain items require two if it's a big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Whereas the other service.
It's not Amnesty Day.
It's the ability for residents to get rid of anything they want.
Right. But
any
Amnesty
garbage day.
when we used to have it, was a day where those tags were not required. So
Right.
people would take advantage of maybe clearing out things that were on their property or in their garage, and basically making Darien a nicer place to live. So again, I think that when we cut out programs that benefit more residents, I have a problem spending $5,000 on a group of just. I've never been approached by anyone who said, hey, I wish you would support the fireworks. So.
Okay. Any other thoughts? Alderman Belke?
I just wanted to make mention if the residents or the viewing audience didn't kind of catch on to this, but we paid $8,000 last year, so this is a decrease of $28.90 from last year's budget. So it's really based on a different method than we approved last year. So I'm glad that it went down.
Yes, I think we tasked our city administrator with approaching the two municipalities to come up with a better methodology for us contributing, considering we're a great deal smaller than the two of Downers Grove and Woodridge. I know it. Guess what?
Let me
Treasurer Corn doesn't vote, but we will appreciate his opinion.
Thank you very much. Alderman Belke, just to refresh your memory a little bit, This is just bringing us back to where we used to be in the process. The amount is being paid per capita based on Darien, Woodridge, and Downers Grove, and that's the way we used to handle it prior to the economic downturn in 2007, 8, probably 8 or 9, where it was eliminated from the budget completely. And then it was restored last year for the first time once budgets got a little bit more flexible in what the amounts they could spend. And at that point, Woodridge and Downers Grove thought that it was appropriate to divide the amount equally. As you know, I've been sort of against this. I feel the same way Alderman MacGyver does, that there are probably better ways of spending money. That being said, I'm glad we at least brought it back to the point where we're only paying our fair share, because the argument goes that our people are viewing it, then I think we should have paid less last year also. So I am glad to at least see the reduction. But I think this is something in the budget, depending what happens at the state level. I mean, this is something that we may have to take a hard look at going forward. We don't know what's going to happen there yet, but I think everybody's going to be impacted somewhat. But for right now, I'm glad we've at least brought it back to where it was and not at the higher level.
All right, any other comments? Then the roll, please.
Alderman Belzak.
Aye.
Alderman Belke.
Aye.
Alderman Kenny.
Aye.
Alderman Marquez.
Aye.
Alderman MacGyver.
No.
Alderman Shower.
Aye.
Alderman, that's it.
The motion, yes, the motion is approved. The next item on the agenda is the item B, a motion to approve an ordinance amending Title II of the Darien City Code to eliminate certain committees. And the committees that I believe, let's see, did you identify, did you name them?
Yeah,
Yes.
the Communications Committee, the Electrical Commission, and the Board of Local Improvements.
Okay. Very old terms that we've had around for quite a long time.
The Board of Local Improvements.
I think that became the zoning board, didn't it?
Well, that was actually, that's an outdated statute, that if you're having a special assessment by state statute, when we were a non-home rule community, you needed to have that Board of Local Improvements, but there's no special assessments that have been done here nor planned, so committee's not needed.
Any other discussion? Alderman Belke?
I guess could somebody, for the viewing audience, now that we're, voting to take these committees away, can somebody list the ones that we do have, the ones that are remaining?
That's easy. We have two.
Well, it's easy. Go ahead, Mayor. Well, I was just about to open the code and make sure I didn't miss any.
Oh, okay.
But we have
The
certainly the
active ones,
Planning
the
and
active
Zoning
ones.
Commission. That was a commission that was combined from a zoning commission several years ago. Board of Police and Fire Commission. We have the Police Pension Board, which is quasi-city, but we have members on that from the city, but it's actually a separate entity. Not sure if I'm missing any. That's probably
The
what we have.
Environmental Committee. The environment.
Is
Yes, that's
correct.
That is still active. And Paul, I believe you are the liaison to that committee. I think we need to bring the members, give a call to the members that have been on the committee to ask them if they want to continue, and then we need to bring them together. I think there's a few members that will not want to participate any longer, and see if we can energize that committee and task them with some duties.
Okay.
All righty.
Yeah, during the goal setting too, we talked about, some new projects and some new, giving some new things to that committee. But also we have Citizen of the Year, I don't want to forget some of those that meet maybe annually, and also our holiday picture committee.
Well, that's not an ordinance, that one, is it? I know that the Citizen of the Year is, but I don't think the holiday
Maybe that one is
decorating,
not.
I don't think that's in ordinance form, yeah. Okay. Okay, is item B still on the?
We didn't get a motion.
Okay, we have the motion. Did I get a motion or a second? Okay. The motion is an ordinance to amend to eliminate certain committees. Do I have a motion to approve? Alderman Shower, seconded by Alderman MacGyver. Discussion? The roll, please.
Alderman Shower.
Aye.
Alderman MacGyver.
Aye.
Alderman Belke.
Aye.
Alderman Belzak.
Aye.
Alderman Kenny.
Aye.
Alderman Marquez.
Aye.
The motion is approved. Let's move to questions, comments, and announcements of a general nature. Yes, Paul?
Mayor, I have one announcement. with our aggregation program coming up, Constellation Energy has sent out a letter to all of our residents. We've been getting some phone calls regarding that, and those are actually from our, on our letterhead and from Constellation Energy.
I did receive it, yes.
Okay.
And
Like to have
for all the aldermen, we posted it on our Facebook page. I would appreciate for all of you, if you have Facebook, share it and put it on your Facebook page so you can get the information out to your friends on Facebook too. I did that so that people would know that that's the real McCoy, yeah.
The best thing about that, Paul, literally is residents, in order to switch to the new company, need to do nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a bit of ease we tried to put with that.
And it's a lower rate than we had before, so
Yes.
that's welcome news.
Yes.
And it's going down in the second year too.
Correct, and it's for 26 months, so we
Yeah.
won't have to go through this next year.
Okay. So anyone in the audience want to have any questions, comments, and announcements? Alderman Belzak?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I just had a question regarding the Ward 4 aldermanic vacancy and what the process is and when we're going to have a full group.
Yes, I will. I hope to have an alderman candidate for the first meeting in June. I am just starting the process of interviewing people. Okay. Thank you for asking. If there's nothing else, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Shocker.
Wait a minute. What's wrong? You did it
I
last
did.
time?
You missed it.
so
I
fast.
was-
Oh, I
did
missed
it.
See? I missed it.
She's so fast you missed it.
Okay, Alderman McIver, seconded by Alderman Belke. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
That arm really goes up. Boom.
You're gonna be jealous when you're in a sling, right?
Yeah, I'll be like, you notice I don't use this arm too much to do it.
Like, you have to get like you'll bring your,